All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Unpredictable Pipeline. We are talking to marketing leaders throughout the B2B space about 2020. We started the year with best laid plans, and then COVID happened, and all kinds of things happened. This has not been an easy year, but honestly, for a lot of marketing leaders, including our guest here, it's been an opportunity to clean house, to lean up a little bit, and to be a lot more focused. So to talk a little more about her journey the last few months, Caroline Japic, she's the CMO at Kenna Security. Caroline, thanks for joining us. I'm live from the basement. You're live from your bedroom. This is how we work now. It could be worse. So thanks so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
So we'd love to have you start just by explaining who Kenna Security is, what market you guys are in, and then sort of the evolution in Q1, going from having sort of a different idea.
So Kenna is the leader in risk-based vulnerability management. We actually created this space. One of our co-founders, Ed Bellis, is the father of risk-based vulnerability management. But what we do is help organizations understand the threats that are coming at them, the ones that really matter, the 5% you should focus on, because most enterprises have hundreds of thousands of vulnerabilities, and you just simply can't patch them all. So we help them understand very clearly which ones they need to patch, and work directly through our platform with IT so that they understand the priorities. Makes it really simple, reduces friction, and it works.
All right. So start of the year, big plans for growth. Then all of a sudden, March happened, COVID happened. Talk about those, really sort of days, right? Like when everything started to shut down, and then you're trying to close a quarter, you're trying to sort of hit a Q2 number. What were some of those immediate pivot points that you guys faced that you were challenged with?
We actually, when you back up just a little bit more, I started here last, it's been more than a year now. So it was August 2018, I guess, right? Is that, I don't know what year I'm in. Regardless, we had a lot of great things at Kenna, right? We were growing rapidly. We had a great team. And when I jumped in, we just had a lot of technology in our technology stack. And if people can leave today's discussion with one thing, it is to do a technology stack audit every single year, because it's so easy for technologies to be added and you may not even be using them. You're paying for them, and you're just keeping a really tight leash on the technology you're using is a really important thing. So when I started, we had a lot of technology. We had 17 different technologies in our stack, and we weren't using many of them. They were duplicates. And so the first thing we did was just clean that up. We looked at the dates when we could turn things off, and got it down to 11 technologies in our stack, or 10 technologies in our stack, and basically made sure that all of them were integrated into Salesforce so that we had a single version of the truth. Because we just simply couldn't make buying decisions on marketing programs because we didn't have the data to support the success or the failures that we had. So that started in the October timeframe of last year. And I guess it was 2019. Scary how fast time flies. So that was really the first thing that we did, that and focusing on the message. So that took about a quarter to clean everything up. So by January 1st, we were raring to go with a new message that was absolutely on point, with a stack that was completely integrated so we can track everything that we were doing. And along the way, we also worked on our processes. I think people maybe don't put enough energy into processes, because you can have the most amazing technology, but if you don't get buy-in from different groups around the organization, then you're not able to really have success with what you're trying to do. So when COVID hit, we were moving, right? We were executing. Things were going really well for Kenna. And we had, part of our marketing mix was quite a few events, in-person events. So we had to quickly pivot. It took us about 2 weeks, I'd say, to just go, okay, we don't know how long this is going to be here. We need to really just back up and understand exactly where our leads are coming from. Where do we need to double down? Where do we need to move budget? And we did quick shifts so that we still were able to meet our lead gen numbers, right? We know exactly what we need to get to. We back into those based on the revenue numbers, and we just kept moving. So we've been able to achieve our numbers from a lead perspective for the year. We're on track, and it's all systems go.
So that's amazing. I want to have you also talk, and I lost connection there for a minute. We got all kinds of kids doing homeschool here, so bandwidth, look, and it's where we live now. But want to have you talk about your want to have you talk about your database as well, because I know this is something that a lot of people have dealt with. Making sure you've got a clean database. We're a very small company, and our Salesforce is a mess because of all the data that not only has been added over time, but even over the course of 12 years. Most people, what has been your strategy to really sort of clean up Salesforce, and especially for that target account marketing program, that account-based program, making sure you've got clean, accurate, up-to-date data?
When I started, we had more than 100,000 accounts, I believe, in our database. And it was just old. We had just done a massive download from Discover.org, and we weren't really targeting the right people. We were going too low in the organization. And so we kind of just dumped everything, not everything, but a lot of it we got rid of because it didn't meet the criteria of the kind of companies we were trying to sell to. We got that down to 11,000 accounts that are more appropriate for us, and then just built out the 5 titles inside each organization that we're trying to reach. So the CIO, the VP of Vulnerability Management, the CISO, everyone that's kind of director of vulnerability management, anyone in that space. We really that buying committee. Based on our experience from previous sales cycles, and just populated the database with that information. So the SDRs, while we have them do a lot of research to make sure they understand the account, and we're customizing and using account-based marketing for each account we're trying to get into, it was easier for them. They didn't have to do all the research. We were actually able to populate that for them, so they could hit the ground running and do more. Look at people on Twitter. Like, what do they care about? What is their family all about? Who are they as a person? Really focus on the human side of things, not just you're a name in a database that I'm trying to reach.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, this is such a refreshing conversation, and we've done a number of these now, because you really sort of went down back to fundamentals, and honestly, these are things that you would argue we should all be doing on a regular basis. Do you think Kenna would have prioritized some of these things if it was run of year, right? Thinking about, okay, you did a tech audit and you cut like 2/3 of your tech tools. You created a set of dashboards that were a single point of truth. You have a contact strategy that is now creating more consistency and accuracy. This sounds like a CMO's dream. These obviously are great recommendations for any year. Talk a little bit about sort of incremental versus exponential change, right? And why it's important. Like, even if you don't have a pandemic that shuts down part of your marketing, why do you need to do this, build these fundamentals on a more consistent basis?
I run a very structured program. I don't believe that hope is a method when it comes to demand gen. And so, I prefer to look at the data and really understand the truth. And if it's bad, it's fine. Then you can have a plan to fix it. Yeah. So I think, it's very important each year, sort of like the tech audit I talked about, take a step back. And we actually just had our 2021 planning session yesterday with the full marketing leadership team. And we took an hour just to say, let's talk about innovation. Like, what can we do differently? What are we seeing out there? We assign some responsibilities for people to go and look at other things that we could be doing differently. But quite frankly, I've been in a lot of marketing organizations, and you need to have solid fundamentals to get anywhere, right? You have to make sure you're targeting the right people, and you have a very clear message. That was one of the things, again, that we did when I first started, was let's have what do our prospects care about? What's important to them? It's getting more time back in their day so they can have dinner with their family. It's saving money so that they can do more with less, right? So just hitting those, again, taking it back to the people. They're just people, right? We're not selling to robots. We're selling to people that have lives, and finding a way to make their lives better, I think is a key part of the kinds of program that I bring to the table. But I do think that you need to take time, frequently to step back and go, wait, are we doing this wrong? Is there something else we should be doing differently? You also have to talk to the sales team. Like, what's working? What do you guys think about this? What can we be doing differently? Just be totally open and not defensive. I mean, I love the work and the programs and the campaigns we have running, but if they're not working, I'll shut them down like that, fail fast, right? So I think that's very important to, look at your data on a regular basis, maybe slice it and dice it a bunch of different ways to test it and make sure that it is the truth, right? Because sometimes if you only look at it through one lens, you're not necessarily going to get the full story. But, we try to improve what we're doing every single month, every single day. If there's something we could do differently, if there's a consultant we can bring in to help us think about things differently, then we'll do that. We read business books about how to be, better managers and better leaders, and just try to be open, try to think about things differently, lift your head up, get out of the day-to-day drudgery and take a walk, take a deep breath, and, just think, what can I do better today?
I think sometimes getting out of our basement, getting away from your screen, going for a walk, letting your brain think through some of these things is really, really good advice. We do have an audience question, Caroline. Mike McFarlane has a tactical question around this. He wants to know tools and providers. Okay, all strategically sounds good. Who are some of your favorites? Who are some of the companies that you found that are helping you maintain that data integrity?
We are literally doing research right now on 6 new vendors. We're not going to pick all 6 of them. We'll pick one. We found that, discover.org for some, and I love Zoom Info. I think that they're really good for some industries, and for some targets, they're really good. For others, not so much. And so you really have to have a blend. I love LinkedIn Sales Navigator because, people control their own information. It's accurate. It's way more accurate than any other database that you're going to find. But I'll be able to answer the data cleansing question a little bit better next quarter.
All right. We'll come back to you on that. But for today, this has been great. I think just good, solid reminders. Really excited to see the progress you guys have made this year. Really excited to hear that you're hitting your number on track. So Caroline Japic, CMO at Kenna Security, thank you so much for joining us, sharing a little bit about this year's unpredictable pipeline.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
We'll see y'all soon.